Breaking news. Meghan Markle has just admitted in an interview that her brand As Ever has failed because she has no idea what to do next. As Ever has just become As Never will be doing that again. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because breaking news, Meghan Markle, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, has just admitted in this interview that her brand As Ever has failed because she's admitted that she has no idea what to actually do next. Yeah, her partners Netflix must be really happy about that, right, guys? But yeah, let's get into this. So this is an interview, an article from fastcompany.com. And in it, it starts off by talking about what Megxie has done, whatever, right? Goes into her most recent podcast, Confessions of a Female Flounder. Also going into how Archie recently lost his first tooth. With Megxie saying, I had a lot of business meetings the next morning, but I still chose to cuddle with him the rest of the night. After explaining that Archie went into her bedroom at like 2 a.m. in the morning to tell her what had happened. She says, those mum moments energized me to be a better founder, a better employer, and a better boss. Well, if that's the case, why are stories continually coming out on a periodic basis that Megxie is basically a dictator in high heels? That she literally bullies people to the point where they have to be signed off work sick because of it. Yeah, maybe she's not a better mum after all. That would then kind of translate in her being this somehow better boss, because she definitely ain't a better boss. Not with all those stories of bullying allegedly coming out. Do you know what I mean, right? Anywho, the article then kind of pivots back to her podcast. She says, quote, I'm pulling back the curtain to allow people to see the candid experience of being a founder. And it's basically all about her rather than the actual guests. It then goes on to the Netflix deal. Megxie talked about how she partnered with Netflix to create her brand As Ever, with her iconic flower sprinkles, which are edible flower petals that apparently spruce up dishes. Yeah, if you want to elevate the ordinary to the extraordinary, just sprinkle a lot of dead flowers on it. You're Gucci. Megxie, though, says that she was exploring various ways of launching As Ever with Bella Bajaria, who is Netflix chief content officer. And she said, quote, at the time I had been working towards building out my own in-house team, but I had a complete U-turn because I completely bought into the vision that Bella Bajaria was sharing, which is where content and commerce meet, not in a product placement way, but rather in an ideological way. Dude, her flower sprinkles were product placement all over the shop on her series With Love Meghan. Who the hell is she trying to kid here? She then points out that Netflix is not just a financial backer, saying we're on calls daily, working through product development, SKUs and inventory. We have a field trip tomorrow to look at different manufacturers and suppliers as we expand the brand. Now, let's get on to the bit where Megxie, in this interview, as far as I'm concerned, admits that her brand has failed. Because the article then says, quote, the easiest thing to do would have been to simply restock the products soon after her first launch sold out, which would likely sell out very quickly again. But instead, Meghan wants to take a step back, gather data from the launch, and figure out exactly what As Ever could be. What? Generally speaking, right, if a business does a first launch and it's that successful that it sells out within an hour, dude, that business wants to replicate that as soon as possible, because ultimately a business is in the market to making money, right? So if the first launch of As Ever was that successful, sold out within an hour, Megzy would want to replicate that again as soon as possible because that would mean more money in her back pocket. But she's not doing that. Instead, she's coming up with this cockamamie reason of, no, I'm not going to rush into a second launch. No. Instead, I'm going to take a step back, gather data, figure out exactly what As Ever could be. There to me, she's just admitted that her brand has failed. Why? Because A, she's in no rush for some reason to replicate the success of her first launch by getting out a second launch as soon as possible. And then second reason why I'm saying that in this interview right there, Megsy's just admitted that her brand has failed. It's because of the telling little sentence and figure out exactly what As Ever could be. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but when you launch a brand, shouldn't you have already figured out before the launch what that brand should be? She's just exposed herself by ultimately not releasing a second launch of product soon after the first one to replicate the success, right? And secondly, turning around and still saying that she's trying to figure out what this brand could be, she's failed. She has failed. She's just admitted that her brand has failed because she doesn't know what a brand is and she doesn't have the business sense to try and replicate the success of the first launch by getting a second launch out as soon as possible. So, because she's just admitted that she doesn't know what a brand is about, and because she's just admitted that she's not in a rush for a second launch to try and replicate the success and make more money, how do you think her backers, her investors at Netflix are feeling about that? They must be absolutely angry that Megzy has just admitted that she doesn't know what her brand is about and she's not in any rush for a second launch to make more money. She has just admitted in this interview right there that her brand As Ever has failed. Netflix will not be happy about that. She's saying, I want to really focus on the hospitality angle of As Ever, but as we take the learnings, we can understand what the customer's needs are seasonally. Yeah, all right. This is just a lot of word salad. This is Megzy admitting she doesn't know what she's doing. Literally admitting that she doesn't know what a brand is about because she's trying to figure out exactly what As Ever could be. And also admitting that she's not in any rush to release a second wind of products to replicate the success of her first launch. Yeah, I thought a business was in the market to make money. Not to find themselves. You're supposed to know what the brand is about and have a business plan to know what's going to launch in which month, which year, all that lot, pretty much all figured out before you actually officially launch the brand. So here, Meghan Markle, going around full circle, has admitted, as far as I'm concerned, that her brand has failed. And what's she going to do next? Not a lot, I don't think. Let's put it that way. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, believe me, of course, there's going to be more. You do not want to miss my next video. Then make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Do you think Megzy's As Ever brand has failed? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters.